Hey guys, I'm back with another unboxing from my latest order from HK Now store. This will be some packaging, and next pulled out of the box is another of the crazy octahedrons. And this one is the Saturn version. So as with the others so far, this is going to have all the same kind of characteristics. Straight away try and turn a face and a piece wants to pop out the very first turn, and you got that going on. But yeah, not a huge surprise. It is surprising that it's doing it on this circle face. Normally on the other ones it was only the the flat faces that had the problems, ones that were surrounded by circles, because they're all kind of similar design apart from two of them where you've got four of the normal faces and four circle faces. So let's have a look at what this Saturn version has. It's got a zero face on the blue face, very catchy. It's got a zero face on the yellow face. It's got a zero face on the red face. I mean, they're all zeros, and yeah, a zero face on the pink face. So it's kind of like a almost a circle cube type version of this. However, the difference with this is if you turn, I'm not actually convinced that's possible. I was going to say if you turn it so you've got an incomplete circle on a face, and then that face is not going to turn, but it doesn't actually look like that's possible. No, I can only turn the circle faces onto the circle faces, yeah, and I can only turn the regular faces onto the regular faces. So yeah, that's interesting. Okay, I'm curious how these are going to solve. If you had a circle cube like this where you had all zero faces, it basically, once you solve the outer side of it, it solves like a super cube, and you can't not solve it. The corner pieces, the inner circle corner pieces, all solve automatically, things like on the circle cube. And I don't know if this is going to have similar kind of properties to that or not, but there's only one way to find out. But what I'm going to do to begin with is the same as the other ones. I'm going to go and try breaking them in a bit and adding a bit of lube, try and see if I can improve the turning quality at all, and I'll be back with some more thoughts once I've done that. Okay, so as with the other ones of these puddles, I've got the Saturn lubed and broken in a little. No great difference from the others. It feels just the same with the turning quality. Some catches here and there, some attempts to pop. It hasn't exploded on me yet. I have had a corner twist on this one while I've been playing around with it, so you end up with a corner twist in 90 degrees, even though that's an impossible situation, even though I'm just, not scrambling it in any way. This version, not sure if I mentioned when I opened it, has got 4 zero faces, so all of the circles are fixed. None of them turn with the outer faces. When you turn the outer face, they rotate around and the centre stays where it is on all 4 of the circle faces. So I'm not sure how this one's going to solve. I've got suspicions, but I'm not absolutely certain. I will have to obviously just scramble it and give it a go and see where we get to. So far, before scrambling this one, I've solved 2 of them, the Jupiter and the Mars, but this one's going to be very different because the Jupiter and the Mars use very different strategies for solving the circle pieces than will be possible on this. The strategies used on that just simply will not be possible on this puzzle. So I'm certainly going to have to come up with something new in that regard. Wow, this thing looks great scrambled. I don't know why it's any different to the others, but I think it looks really cool for some reason. Oh, here we go, got to catch something. Won't go past something else. So I always stop and be careful when I get that, because that's the kind of sensation I get. A couple of times I've had the explosion and the near explosion on the other puddles. So whenever I get a strong catch like that, I always stop and have a look around and see if I can free it up before I continue, because I really don't want an explosion, obviously. I've already had to assemble one, so it wasn't terribly difficult or anything, but it took me a good 20 minutes or so to get it done. So yeah, I'd really prefer not to have to do it, obviously. So yeah, I think we can call that about scrambled for now. One thing you will notice, the inner edges aren't that scrambled at the moment, and that's because you can't ever rotate them away from where they belong. So as soon as I get it onto the right face, it's always going to be solved, if that makes sense. They're never going to go very far from the solved position because their faces, they don't rotate with the face. So yeah, I think that is scrambled now, or as scrambled as it's going to get. I'll go away and give it a solve, hopefully, and I'll come back to you with some more thoughts a little later. Okay then, so this crazy Saturn octahedron is now solved again. This one was quite a bit tougher than the previous two that I've solved, the Mars and Jupiter ones. The fact that you can't manoeuvre the corners around in any way by turning the faces, when I say corners I mean the inner circle corners, makes solving them quite tricky. And the problem is as well, whilst inserting the entire triangle onto a face, you disturb those inner corners on other faces. So I needed to find a way of cycling them. I did find the 3 cycle. I managed to find a way to cycle that one, and that one with each other. But it's very difficult to set up. It's not a pure 3 cycle, unfortunately. It does actually involve exchanging these triangles on the top face while I'm doing it, and so that means I have to have the puzzle in a state where these 3 are solved or completely unsolved, either way, before cycling these. Otherwise I break things that are already solved in the process of cycling these 3 points. So yeah, took quite some time to solve this one. Probably about 4 hours of work I spent on this one trying to figure it out, but yeah, I'm glad to say I got there in the end. I think my method is very inefficient. It's not a good method for solving it, I don't think. I won't be putting a tutorial together for this puzzle using my method because it is very inefficient and difficult to set up. Requires lots of setup moves, which yeah, it's just very inefficient overall. So it really requires a better 3 cycle than the ones I found. I'll probably watch the forums or maybe see if Twisty Puzzling or someone comes out with a video for this one to find a better 3 cycle for the inner corners, or perhaps a different solving order to do a more efficient solve on this one. But I've solved it myself. That's the important thing as far as I'm concerned. I don't mind looking at other people's hints and ways of solving these things, especially if I've already solved it myself, to find a more efficient way. That's fine. I really don't mind that. I've still got the achievement of solving it without help. And it's always good to have that extra bit of knowledge from somebody else that you might be able to apply to some other puzzles in the future. So I will keep a keen eye out for things like that, and I'll take a look if anybody uploads a tutorial for this to see how they went about it, out of curiosity. So anyway, the puzzle itself, I found all the same issues as with the previous 2. Lots of catches and attempts to pop. I didn't have an explosion, thankfully, on this one. I think because as much as anything else, I've got used to the turning of them, and I know the feel of when it's about to explode, so I stopped myself from turning any further. I have had the issue several times of a corner rotating itself in the middle of an algorithm, which happens quite easily. He says unable to turn the corner. But yeah, I've had it quite a few times. What happens is you get a catch that separates some of the adjacent pieces from the corner at some point. I'm just trying to make it happen now, but it doesn't seem to want to, of course. So it's normally quite common, so why it's not happening right now, I don't know. Let me just deliberately misalign it and see if that changes. It doesn't. Ah, there we go. So things get misaligned here, and it's gone back in. But anyway, what happens is things get pulled apart slightly when you get one of these in the corners catch on. It's normally about there that it catches, and these parts separate, and this allows the corner to move. As you can see, it turns, if I pull it apart just slightly, it turns very, very easily. That really is easy to turn. I don't know exactly how it occurs, because I've never noticed it turning at the time. I've only noticed it shortly afterwards. You see that the corner is, of course, turned from its solved state, and that's an impossible situation. So the tips can only rotate 180 degrees from their solved state. So whenever I see one rotated 45 degrees, or 90 degrees even, sorry, talking nonsense, 90 degrees, not 45, whenever I see a tip rotated 90 degrees, I immediately just twist it back again, because it's got into that state by an accidental corner twist and not because it's been scrambled into that state. It does turn okay now, this one. It's been lubed with my painted blend of silicone oil and Marrow lube, which seems to work very well on this. It certainly improves the smoothness of the turning on the faces very much. They're certainly a lot less stiff, but as you hear then, there's still a lot of catching that takes place. I was actually quite close to an explosion then. But once again, I'm not happy about it, but I'm willing to overlook it, because I'm enjoying solving these puzzles so much that I still want to play with them despite the problems that they have. So I will continue with this series and hopefully get all 5 of them solved without help, which I think will be a massive achievement for me, considering how I've failed miserably with some crazy puzzles in the past. The crazy tetrahedrons and pentahedra defeated me soundly, sort of thing. I was completely useless at them when I tried those. Given that it was a long time ago now, so possibly might be quite a bit better at solving now, so I really should revisit them at some point. But I'm really happy that I'm making progress with this series. The fact that I've solved the first 3 without any help whatsoever, and got them all solved within a reasonable time frame, sort of thing, makes me very happy, and it's very satisfying. So I'm really glad that I've got these in my collection and I've been able to do that. Anyway, I think that's it with this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Take care now.